Hi folks, Seth Leapson here. Thanks for watching my monologue. In these uncertain times, you may be thinking about personal protection. If you are, I urge you to visit my friends at Guns Etc. They'll help you find the perfect protection for yourself and your family, and they can even teach you how to use it. They've been protecting Arizonans for over 33 years, and they stand for the great principles this country was founded upon. Or you can just click on gunsetcetera.com. And if you like my monologues, please subscribe to 960 The Patriots YouTube channel. Welcome back. Happy December 30th, 2020. So as we learned after the election, courtesy of the Media Research Center, from an exit poll of voters in 6 swing states, over 45% of Biden voters said they were unaware of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The poll found awareness of the Hunter Biden scandal would have led to 9.4% of Biden voters abandoning the Democratic candidate, flipping all 6 of those states to Donald Trump. But the media put the kibosh on that story, as they did so many other stories that would have informed voters of what they would be getting with the family Biden. What we learned is that the media was more powerful than a lot of us thought. When they want to get you, they will get you. Whether you are a high school student targeted by the woke for doing nothing more than wearing a red MAGA hat, or whether you are the leader of the MAGA movement as the President of the United States. Ironically enough, or perhaps I should say hypocritically and ignorantly enough, the idea of MAGA, making America great again, involves making things American great, and things American include, you would think, the Constitution, as the Constitution includes the First Amendment, and the First Amendment includes the protection of a free press, a free media. The media ignores all of that and instead believes criticism of it is an assault and battery on it. Only they should have free speech and broadcast and printing rights. Not you, not me, not the president. It's a very distorted reading of the First Amendment. But then again, the media has been on a decades-long campaign of distorting things American, all things, except for the rights and privileges they can enjoy. Kind of reminds me of what the left says about conservatives who are racial minorities and affirmative action, that they are taking advantages of it themselves, but then they want to roll up the rights behind them so nobody else can take advantage of them. It's a slur, but that's how you get to know what the left is up to. See what they accuse conservatives of. In psychology, it's called projection. So what the media did with the Biden stories is what they have accused Republicans of for years: voter suppression, suppression of information, and attacks on those who share that information in order to change the outcome of an election. Yes, suppression. It's not enough that the media didn't want to cover the Hunter Biden story. It's that it engaged in a mafia-like conspiracy with social media companies to censor those who did cover it, including the newspaper that broke it, a newspaper founded by none other than Alexander Hamilton. So that assault on the press, the war against the media said Trump was engaged in, as he made himself more accessible to the media, all media, than any other president, was another projection. Just wasn't true. He suppressed nothing. He encouraged no violence against anyone. But the media did. They suppressed Biden stories that could be perceived as or were negative. Once upon a time, the media saw its job as challenging power, investigating the elected and those seeking elective office. Today, they see their job as pushing one political side, as doing the bidding of one political party. Think about it this way. Project Veritas investigates and exposes the left fairly exclusively, just as Prager University promotes and teaches conservative ideas, and both institutions are honest about it. Both are criticized for it. But CNN, NBC, the New York Times, the whole lot of them do the exact same thing in reverse, investigating and exposing only Republicans, promoting and teaching only liberal left ideas and parties, without disclosing that they're partisan, however. It's an awfully strong tool. And while we thought social media would help neutralize some of this, social media got smart to the game and engaged in, wait for it, censorship to aid and abet the mainstream media. They became everything they kept telling us they were not: publishers and editors. As I say, it became more powerful than any of us thought this year. We thought, silly us, that CNN and the rest could do what they wanted, and we'd been all democratized via Twitter and Facebook and other platforms to be our own fact checkers and be able to contradict that which was false or particularly charged reporting. That's how we took down Dan Rather back in the day, right? Couldn't have been done without the blogosphere, but social media woke up, joined the cabal to close down and censor those who did that sort of thing. They rendered Thomas Jefferson's dictum from his first inaugural, error of opinion may be tolerated where reason is left to combat it, they rendered it nugatory. We were neutralized from letting reason or other opinions combat what we perceived as error. What Thomas Jefferson said right before that, however, needs further promotion as well. Quote, during the contest of opinion through which we have passed, the animation of discussions and of exertions has sometimes worn an aspect which might impose on dangers unused to think freely and to speak and to write about what they think. But this being now decided by the voice of the nation, announced according to the rules of the Constitution, all will of course arrange themselves under the will of the law and unite in common efforts for the common good. Close quote. Common efforts for the common good. That what we have here? Especially given that thinking and speaking freely and writing what we think has been discounted, actually censored and banned. So now there's a huge new Hunter Biden story, not just a tax investigation, but a criminal investigation having to do with
Eaton was a target of ours.
And it's been going on for some time, and it just came to light. Let me outline a few of the items from the story put together by the Senate Homeland Security Committee and Fox News. Item: Hunter Biden had business associations with Yi Jianming, Gong Wendong, and other Chinese nationals linked to the Communist government and the People's Liberation Army. Those associations resulted in millions of dollars of cash flow. Item: Hunter Biden's relationship with Yi Jianming and Guangdong began in 2015, while Biden's father was vice president under former President Barack Obama. Item: Yi's connections to the communist government are extensive, and Yi was also financially connected to Vice President Biden's brother, James Biden. Thus, there exists a vast web of corporate connections and financial transactions between and among the Biden family and Chinese nationals. Item: On September 8, 2017, Yi's company announced a $9.1 billion deal to acquire a stake in Rosneft, a Russian state-owned energy company. On that same day, Hunter Biden allegedly opened up a line of credit with Gong Wendong using the business name Hudson West III, with Hunter Biden, James Biden, and James Biden's wife, Sarah, all listed as authorized users of credit cards associated with that account. Also on that same day, the Biden family members used those credit cards to purchase more than $100,000 in airline tickets, technology products, hotel rooms, and restaurant meals, transactions that were flagged for potential financial criminal activity. I could go on. That rendering came from Fox. Seems like a huge story, beginning from when Joe Biden was the sitting vice president. Where were all the journalists? They knew of Hunter. Where was your Woodward and Bernstein? Where was the effort to replicate what was done to Richard Nixon's vice president, Spiro Agnew, who was forced to resign and cop guilty to a felony count for some $10,000 in fraud involving his taxes? $10,000. Well, you have the head of CNN on tape saying before the election, we're not going with the Hunter Biden story. Okay, got it. Not a count of $10,000, but millions, and not involving American contractors, as was the case with Spiro Agnew, but Russian and Chinese communist agents. We're not going with the Hunter Biden story. So here we are today with Hunter Biden himself putting out a statement that he's under investigation. Why did he do that? God only knows. Maybe so his dad could say there's been total transparency. Well, I read you a little of how Fox News covered this story. It's front of the site and at the top this morning. How about the New York Times? I kid you not, it makes page A23 today. Vice President's family, or President-elect's family, however you want to consider it, but to the New York Times, it's the President-elect's family, and it's targeted by fraud for millions of dollars with foreign countries, non-allies, countries they are told us we are engaged in influencing our elections. And it makes page A23. And it's a pretty antiseptic story. avoiding the luridities the story deserves and that Fox put out that I read a few moments ago. How about CNN? How do they handle the story today? Why, it's as if CNN President Jeff Zucker's statement on not covering Hunter Biden prior to the election still abides. There's nothing, zero, on the website for CNN. Yes, a lot on Joe Biden and who he's picking to staff his presidency. Not a word about his brother or son or any of the shenanigans and criminal investigations into them. As in Richard III, say I slew them not, then they are not slain. Report it not, and it cannot be news, or newsworthy, or known. 4 years of truly lurid stuff involving Russian collusion that was not there, in fact, that was invented. Here, nothing. War against the media? Nope. Media's war against America. How do I know? Because they tell us democracy dies in darkness. A lot more will die too. It's not as if we invent the notion that Putin and the Communist Party of China are bad or evil because they are simply financial doers of misdeeds. First and foremost, Putin and the Communist Party of China are bad and evil because they repress and enslave and kill. We didn't fight a long twilight struggle against communism because it violated norms of financial transactions. We fought the long twilight struggle against communism because its desire was to crush freedom, and its means for doing so was to plow down innocent lives and imprison those it could who disagreed or who were in the way. As Whittaker Chambers put it, it was a movement whose triumph means slavery to men wherever they fall under its sway, and spiritual night to the human mind and soul. Spiritual night. Interesting phrase, that. One might even call it darkness. You know, the thing the Washington Post tells us democracy dies in. I'm Seth Leibson. We'll be right back.